you guys.
I do think overall that was probably one of the cleanest games we played.
Yeah, that was definitely a lot cleaner. I think it helped to have Oni on the like. I think he did a good job in terms of his communication with you guys as well.
Yeah.
He talked a lot. That was like.
Yeah, it's beneficial. It's helpful. Can you guys see it? Am I streaming to you guys on Discord?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I think this is like we talked about it. Kirov, if you want to talk about this path really quickly for jungle. You were the one you broke this down for me last night. If you're still there.
Yeah, hold on.
You're good.
So basically, I can see what you're trying to do here with the 3 camp into a gank, but typically what you want to do is buff Gromp if you're going to do the 3 camp. Just because the way that it'll work out is when you come back to clear, because you're playing for bot side, obviously, you're pathing towards them. The way it'll work out is when you recall and you go to do your next clear, you're able to start at Krugs and then do your Raptors and then do your Wolves, and then your Gromp should be respawning around that time. That way you can kind of sync with them and keep them all in sync. It just is a little bit more efficient that way. Taking your Raptors here kind of desyncs all of your camps and makes it a little awkward for your second clear. Also, if you're going to do a 3 camp into a gank, you really need to make sure that your bot lane knows and is not going to be pushing the wave in, because I think what happens in this game is they're super pushed in and there's just no gank possible. So you kind of grief the pathing and then you don't get anything from it. So you kind of have to have a plan in mind when you do that sort of clear.
I think same thing on the Swain. You kind of did the same thing in this game too. Is you held your flash too long and you were dead already. Especially after the first game, you should expect that they are going to do the same thing in the second game. So just being aware of that. This is a reaction thing, but right when she's charging up, you should be ready to flash. You should have been able to flash that flash Q. There's enough time to react there. And I think you get out. But I just think being a little bit more understanding that they could gank you at that 3-minute mark, because they did it in both games, is what's important for you in the mid lane. Oh, another one for you, Kirov. Invade.
This is fine, I think.
Okay.
You don't really know where Vi is, and so it's a little risky. Because we didn't figure out where she started, so it's kind of a waste of time because her camp isn't up. But I think the next thing I had to talk about jungle was after the gank top.
So I do think that you should have gone Dorn's Shield top, Nugget.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, so Doran's Ring, while obviously it's super great, feels really good on Gwen, yada yada yada, all that stuff. In this specific matchup, Rumble's whole thing is, I'm going to win lane and shove you out of lane, and I'm just going to get such a big lead that I snowball into the mid game, right? And so taking that Doran's Shield would help your laning phase a lot more. You won't be as chunked out.
He was poking a lot,
yeah, and that's how he wants to play, right? I also don't particularly think bone plating is super effective against Rumble because of how his trade pattern works. Usually, you take bone plating on someone who has a harder time with their trade patterns on you. And
demolish.
Yeah, probably demolish is better, and then hopefully you have second wind. But I just don't think bone plating is worth it in this situation, because he can proc it whenever he wants. It's just not gonna be up ever. And they just flashes. That was good. I like how you used the W. That was really good there. You should have died. He had ignite, but that's okay.
I died on the next turn when he had flash.
Yeah. Okay, Swain, critique. Here we go. Ready for it? Here it comes. Here it comes right here. Comboed wrong. Once they get boots, you can't combo like that because they'll get out and you won't hit your W. You E, W, then pull into the middle of the W. You don't E pull W. It's E W pull. Because they have, especially in the later stages of the game, as they get boots and things like that, they'll always be able to get out of the W in time, and you won't get the right stacks. So just a small little combo there. Doesn't matter in that situation, but is good for later. This is a really good gank.
Oh yeah. Why was the Rumble keep on spamming his ability?
Because that's what Rumble is gonna do.
Yeah.
I just Rumble. So Rumble is going like. Usually you play Rumble to play towards top side, so you can take all the different stuff. So the Vi should be playing towards him. A good Rumble can manage it well and like manage his cooldowns, but most people are going to, I'm on Rumble, I need to be a lane bully, and so they're going to use their cooldowns on CD because they're trying to be they're trying to win lane, you know, they're Rumble. They don't think about the nuances of the actual laning phase. So yeah, most Rumble you'll see will constantly be just perma shoving you in top lane because that's how they think Rumble is supposed to be played. Which they're not necessarily totally wrong, but it's just about knowing when to actually do that.
And so a quick note for the jungle here is after you kill top and you have prio in both lanes, because we know Ari backed and we know that Rumble's dead, you definitely should grab a grub here. Just be at least one. Like I know you might not want to take the full camp because it's a little dangerous when you don't know where Vi is, but definitely taking one is really big here because one, it denies them from getting, if you get one from each spawn, they're not going to get that 5-stack buff, but also because, I don't know if you're aware of this, but the jungle item has a passive where the first time you kill a large monster like Baron, Dragon, whatever, you get like bonus XP. So taking at least one grub will get you that XP buff, whereas the other two grubs aren't worth quite as much XP. And so it's just really important to try to get one if you can, and this is definitely a situation where you can.
Yeah, and he called out here too, if you take this, you hit level 5 here. But because you didn't take it and you take the Scuttle Crab, you don't actually hit level 5 off the Scuttle Crab. But the grubs would have given you an XP boost big enough to have you already be level 5.
And with the way Vi pathed, she ended up showing bot and doing dragon. I think she assumed you guys were doing grubs because it was kind of an obvious play, so she's doing for the cross map. So you could have gotten all three, but I think recalling, so like you had a couple of choices here. You can either try to fight them for the dragon, or you could just recall and trade the grubs. I don't think it's like just a little too greedy to recall and then try to fight the dragon, because especially with Maokai, he can get a lot of objective control if he's there first, but he's not. So the Maokai is just not as, like, your bot lane's back as well. Like they have it all warded. It's just a really, really hard to take this dragon here. So definitely when the enemy is doing something like this and it's not looking good for your team, just take the objective on the other side of the map because it's free. They're not going to be able to contest you on the grubs here.
Yeah, and the call out too was, hey, we're going to run and contest this when, truthfully, you guys have
really late.
Yeah, you have no right in contesting this Drake. It's first Drake. Your mid lane's pushed in. Your bot lane just reset. Or
they have all the wards.
They have all the wards, and your jungle is in base still. When they start this, there's just no reason to contest this Drake. It should have been just traded like you talked about. But then you guys do try and contest, and I think you guys get killed because of it. Yeah. Yeah, there's no... Like, Swain's dead before Viego's even gotten here. There's no reason to contest that Drake. Just give it. It's okay to give objectives, particularly in the early game.
First dragon, yeah, not very important. It doesn't do a whole lot for the team.
So I do think Nugget here and maybe you don't know the CDs and stuff if you're tracking it. I totally think as Gwen here, once you get his bone plating off, I totally think you can take a fight here. He can't have ignite, which he doesn't have right now.
He's also playing super greedy.
He's also playing super greedy. So
that was a good gank.
That was a very good gank. Good rotation, all that.
Right here, it's really bad to invade as Viego because the death timer is pretty short, so Rumble can come out. But also because Ahri has, since you're swaying around, Ahri has complete priority here. So the only way you can ever invade her is if you like an insta-killer, which Vi is just not one of those champions, and neither is Viego. So you end up getting caught out here because of that kind of invade. Like you're looking for something when you had no right to. And yeah, don't flash when you're dead either.
Don't flash when you're dead. Yeah, there's been a couple of those where it's okay. Like, if you're about to die, sometimes it's just not worth it to burn the summoner. That you just gotta accept, oh, I'm dead. The only time it's worth it to flash, even if you die, is if you know it's going to force somebody else to burn it.
Or buy time for your team to do something really important.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think if you used flash earlier and ulted, you probably don't get Vi ulted. So if you're gonna use the flash, you gotta use it soon before you're dead, right?
So this was fine. We talked about this as well. But once that play doesn't happen, and again, it's the priority, right? You can't.
Swain has to catch this big wave in mid, and so Ahri's gonna have the first move every time. And they also know you're in the area. So and Vi is coming over fresh. This is just really dangerous.
Especially because your whole team left, too.
Yeah, they had things to do.
Everyone left, yeah.
I died. Oh.
Yeah, this is where you he flashes on you and ignites you. He's coming up soon.
All right, and so if we can pause real quick here. So if we look, the dragon's spawning pretty soon, and it looks like your team is going to want to take it. Swain's going to come in and bounce the wave back, and we have Prio in bot lane. This is really a good time to set up for it, especially if you're playing Maokai. Getting saplings in these bushes ahead of time can prevent the enemy from being able to go in and get vision, because they don't have any vision right now, so they're going to need to get vision to set this up. But the Maokai saplings are going to kind of deter them because he wants to face check them and lose like a third of their health. So I think that needs to happen before the dragon, and then I think there's a few other things.
I also think right here, call out on that as well is, this one's fine. I probably throw it back here instead, because this wave's going to bounce anyways. So I don't know if the sapling right here is the most valuable. I would put it more into the enemy jungle itself. More likely
that way you can
them
see them approach,
mm-hmm.
and then maybe look for a pick with like a Viego stun or Maokai root, grab someone as their, because a lot of teams aren't going to be very coordinated when they go in to put vision. A lot of times it'll be just like the support going by themselves, and they're really easy to get picks on. And so right here, you kind of do what they did in the last game, where your top laner is top and has TP, but the Rumble is missing. He just reset, so he could be here, right? And right now, Rumble's a lot stronger than Gwen, but Gwen outscales. So it's probably better if you just let Gwen push top, because Rumble came here, and then just give the dragon. Because instead we fight, and because we lose the fight, because it's a 4v5, they get a bunch of kills and the dragon anyway. So
no, they don't get this dragon, because they overchase. This is the one they overchase on.
You're right. And they end up getting the dragon, but like if they're a little bit better, then they get the dragon. They shouldn't be chasing here. And see, Gwen just gets a bunch of plates, which is really huge for her. And like the win con top is just for Gwen to hit 2 items and start being able to beat Rumble in the 1v1s.
Rumble in the 1v1.
And so like even though he has TP, it's probably better since Rumble's a lot stronger. You don't want to take the 5v5 over Dragon and coin flip it there when Gwen can just get a bunch of free plates for the realm, and that way she can get a little bit of a lead. And if you guys don't die there, then Rumble gets nothing, right? He just wastes a bunch of his time and Gwen gets a big lead. And again, like the second dragon, just not very important. And even taking it after this is really risky. Like Viego barely kills Vi in time and ends up snowballing. Like this is like 100% a coin flip. We don't have Swain ult anymore. And we're just kind of lucky that they were a little slower in the play and didn't quite kill Viego.
Yeah, so it's still coin flippy. We just need to understand the cooldowns, understand when we're fighting and when we're actually strong, because we are, especially with how strong Ahri is at this point. If Ahri's in a fight, we're gonna auto lose the fight, because that is where all of their gold is. There's no gold lead. They have a 600 gold lead, and 2k of it out of 600 is all on their mid, because jungle's even, our top is up by 500, our bot lane's up by a couple hundred, and our support is up by a couple hundred. So any fight that the Ahri's in right now, we likely lose, and that's one of the reasons they lost that fight, is Ahri was not in that fight.
I get a kill up here. He uses...
Yep, and that's what you should do. You're at a point where, as long as you're tracking the Ignite on Gwen, at one item you have the ability to kill the Rumble if he uses certain cooldowns. If he has Ignite, you still don't win. At 2 items, you do win.
Why not work Ignite?
Because
does like 100 damage, 150.
Because Gwen's
The way
whole
Gwen
thing.
works is healing, right? You have a Riftmaker first too, so like healing's a big portion of your ability to trade with him, and so if you can cut that in half, it's a really big advantage.
I thought it cut it down by 30%, not like 50.
It's like 40, I think. I don't remember.
I don't remember off the top of my head. 40.
40, yeah.
But it's enough that it
Can swing the fight.
it can swing the fight, especially this early. Because Rumble's big thing is his early and mid game are very, very strong. Particularly his mid game. His mid game fights are really strong.
Auto, you're trying to take it.
Yeah, you just greed after that, not knowing where the Vi is. You just kind of overstay.
And if you think about it, like the jungler is almost always going to come to this because they know that you want that play after you kill, and they know you're lit, you used all your cooldowns, and so if you don't know where the jungler is, you just can't read for that because they're going to be sprinting towards you when they see you trying to push that wave in. And their top laner is going to be calling it too because he doesn't want you to get plates either. So like the odds that the jungler is going to come gank you here are really high. So you can really only greed for that if you know where the jungler is and they're on the other side of the map.
One thing, I mean, I think this one, obviously we win this, but we can, when you're fighting an Ahri, you don't want to run in a straight line because how her Q works. It goes forward and then does true damage on the way back. So you, 2 full Qs, like right here, like you could easily sidestep the second part of the Q. Instead, it almost kills you. So it's just about knowing, like, oh, and if she gets that, she probably still dies because Maokai are, but there's a chance she gets out because she gets an ult cooldown and gets one more E. I don't think it's likely. I'm pretty sure she still dies, but there's always that, like, chance, right? So just when you're playing certain champions, knowing how their abilities work and being able to dodge it is important. I don't know what it is. So I love picking these things up, but you guys seem to just be ignoring these things. I love these things. I don't know if I'm just like, I just like the extra movement speed or what, but I think you guys could be picking those up more.
It's half ability haste.
Yeah, I know. No, I know what it does. I'm saying that like you guys like the entire game, like it felt like you guys were kind of ignoring them, which not that they're like crazy good, but like it's still nice. So when you have the opportunity to take it, you guys definitely should just grab some because a little ability haste can go a long way after a couple stacks.
Right here, you. I think just a little thing on the Viego. I think you needed to ult a little sooner, like before she got there. It's that blast cone. If you kill her there, it's super huge, but you end up using your ult, and then I think afterwards sticking around a little bit too long. You should have gone back to the Herald.
Yeah, he was caught out in an awkward spot. I do think too, and this is just communication stuff, a little bit sooner on the Senna R, Taddy. I don't think that's necessarily on you, but just communicating as a team, like, hey, we got to get ready to Senna R so you can get in position to be able to actually hit that is a little bit easier, is important. Like I said, it's not necessarily your fault. it was a little late because I don't know what the communication was, but it's kind of like Shen. Like sometimes, like when I'm playing Shen, I'm gonna back off the wave a little bit earlier than I normally would because I need to be in a position where I can get off a good ult to help my team. And so I think just doing that a little bit earlier would have been good. But like I said, it also needs to be called out properly. I don't want to be on video. There we go.
Okay, right here, again for the jungler. So you don't know what camp Spy has up, and also you know all of your camps are up. So when you're pathing here, instead of just rushing into her jungle and looking for stuff, you should just clear your camps. So I think what you end up doing here is you look around, everything is gone, and then like the wolves respawn. And so you end up getting the wolves, but you had 3 camps on your top side that you could have taken in the same amount of time. So it's just like really inefficient to look for an invade when all of your camps are up. You're like running past your camps to get one of her camps, especially because you don't know where she is and what camps are up. So it's just kind of blindly running into the enemy jungle. You don't know what you're going to get. You don't know if they're there. It's just really dangerous.
Whereas all this is still up, like right now.
Yeah. And so like you look, the Gromp down, the wolves just barely respawn, so you get lucky there and you get a wolf, but like you could have gotten 3 camps on your own side in the same amount of time that it took you there, and you could have been bot side already.
A little bit of a greedy back. I think Senna's doing Senna things. Taddy, you could look a little bit more frequently to roam. I know you're focused on CSing and stuff. There's a couple times where you could like lane swap or things like that with top lane for objectives, like around Rift Herald. Like calling for lane swaps and stuff is always good. If you guys are gonna contest like the objectives. It was so close. There was something on this fight. So I know he just left, but I will give him the note anyways. Dang it. Right here, you should be R'ing already. You waited way too long. This fight was only close because of how long you held your R. You're at a point where you're starting to win, especially with the Merc Treads. You're at a point where you, like I said, you still can lose, but if you had a better R there, like his R was not amazing.
And Rumble 100% kills you here if he doesn't flash away.
Yeah, he just autos you.
I don't think he doesn't understand his passive gives him auto attack damage.
Yeah, he 100% should have killed you here. But like I said, if you are right there, you may still win this fight. But you should have, you were 100% dead there. 100%. It wasn't close. You only won that because he misplayed by not punching you in the face with his auto attack.
300 damage auto.
Yeah. That was good. Swain just get to the point where Ari can't do anything against Swain.
This fight was a little awkward.
So it was a little awkward.
Viego ends up Viegoing all over them, so it's fine.
You kind of get traded. It looks like he ults you here, doesn't he, Taddy? Do you remember?
Who, Varus?
Varus, yeah. I think that's what happened.
I think so.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
So on this play, you kind of get like, oh, I want to kill this guy, which is fine. Like, obviously you get traded ult. I think instead of forcing it this way, you could have rotated up to kill these guys first. And
I think I just got so worried about getting the Varus ulti, and then Vi gets in range to press R on me, and I just insta-explode.
Yeah.
Which
Gets
is
to the
why
point,
I did
though.
not want to let him behind me, but that's, I don't know if that's technically the right call.
I think you could have just positioned a little bit. So I think
further up.
Yeah, well, I think because
upwards try.
Yeah, so like, I'm gonna go through it one more time. So like right here's fine, like right here's fine,
Boom,
but right here, just
boom,
rotate
run
and
back
be
towards-
behind. Yeah, like
Get behind the Maokai.
get behind the Maokai. Like even if they go, like it's like later in the fight, there's a fight up here where the Vi commits everything onto you, but he's going past a Swain and a Maokai, so he gets nothing for it and just dies because like you're going past a Swain and a Maokai. Like great job, you know. So yeah, so I think you just play that a little bit more behind your Maokai. I think you're fine, especially because you have both sums up too. But it works out because Viego does Viego things. Also, a weird TP. I don't know why we TP'd after the fight. I like this. I'm glad that you don't... Taddy, I'm glad that you stayed on turret and didn't rotate over for Drake because it wasn't needed. Through this. See, and I like what you guys are doing here. I like that when you're invading here, it's 3 of you all trying to deny vision and do all that stuff. Yeah, you just gotta be careful of Ari. I think she kills him.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine. He's bad.
Oh yeah, he dies for it too. That's right.
If he was good, yes, I die there.
So just understand, being careful of that, and then being very careful here. Why did we not have W up? When did we use W? There's no... oh my goodness. Okay, so we waste W here. That's why. So you're clearing vision out, and then you see that you see them here. Before you even swept it, you saw them. So right here, the fact that you W, for some reason, and maybe a misclick, that you can't W there because it gets you killed. Then when they miss, you just got to run, but it's already kind of too late. So burning your W there kind of lost you that. So understanding your cooldowns and what you can do, you knew where the enemy team was, at least the Leona and the Vi, but burning the
I don't
W
know
is a
how
big issue.
slippery Gwen is, but like even just being up that far when there's 4 of them, like you saw 2 of them, you didn't know where Varus was. Like reading for that next wave is just super greedy.
The Gwen, you can actually the W is the big issue. Gwen's fine in that situation because of how Gwen's W works, but the fact that you didn't have W, it's understanding. I can't extend here because I used the W.
And right here, Viego really needs to ult the Rumble and get his reset, because if you get Rumble here, you just end the fight completely. He's the strongest, like one of their strongest people, and he does a lot of AoE damage. They're already stacked up with the Baron, so like Viego not getting a soul here is really bad. It's good you guys kill him, but like Viego just ults and gets that and ends up not dying here. And you guys probably get Baron. It's like a lot more of a clean fight.
Yeah, just get the reset there. And you're up 3 levels on, or 2 levels on the Ari at this point. Like, guy has no right to be in lane against you. You should burn his cooldown. Anytime he tries to contest like that, you should do what you just did and just get him to burn his ult, because that's what he has to do. I think this is good. This is the fight where they like int for you, I think. Taddy.
I believe so.
Yeah. So this is good. This is what you should.
Over the wall.
And this is what Swain in this composition is really supposed to do, right? Is he's supposed to just keep everybody off as much as possible. That was a good flashy. And then you guys should go to Baron while Gwen does the Drake. I think that was the call. Taddy, you kind of jump around. You just go straight to the Baron here.
Yeah.
It works out. I mean, it's not a big deal. I think overall that was a pretty well played fight. I like how you guys had it. You guys did the right thing in terms of, okay, we're gonna go get mid prio here. Like you guys pushed out the mid wave, and Swain is kind of up here with Viego threatening and Malachi threatening. This is what you should definitely do.
Also, when you see Vi charging up like this as Senna, you might want to use your thing that makes it so she can't click on you. Just so that she can't ult.
Okay, yeah.
Because you can tell she's fishing for it when she's charging her Q. She's very telegraphed about what she wants to do.
it preemptively.
But like I said, I mean, the rest of the fight, they just have no way of dealing.
Yeah,
with...
there's like a comp diff right now.
Right, this fight is they have no way of dealing with your guys' composition in a fight like that where Swain and Maokai in the front line and Senna's just so far behind them, no one can get to them. It's just they can't do anything.
I don't know damage this game though. Like, I get it, they couldn't get to me, but like I feel like I deal no damage on Senna. I don't know if that's just I'm not stacking enough or.
I am not the person to. All I know is Senna's I play against. I feel like just eat me alive.
I don't know if opportunity is the best item on her. I would have to look it up.
Yeah, I don't know the builds as well on her right now.
Often.
Yeah, I thought that was
Double
like
check.
those are the core 3 right there.
It might be. Oh yeah, actually it's pretty popular on her. Never mind.
And we can look at it like I don't know if
it might just be a stacking thing, and I'm not abusing the move speed I have to get the better spacing off.
Yeah,
Maybe it is.
I think
it also
talking
would me being a bitch and not being 100% confident in my damage at that point.
Sure.
I don't really think it's your job to do like all the damage at this point in the game. 25 minutes, you know, like you have a super fed Swain and Gwen, and
So when is when is Senna's is it more like at the 35-minute mark?
I think it's more of like a stack threshold, right? When she gets that insane range that she can just like hit people without them even being in range of retaliating. So it's more of like,
and that being
it's like
said,
a slowly choking them out of the game instead of just hard carrying and doing tons of damage like a Draven would, right? She just makes it so it's hard for the enemy to play. The later it gets.
She felt that way again. It didn't like. It just felt like.
And you got to remember, you also have like heals and shields and stuff and roots. Like, CC, you have so much utility that you're bringing to the team. It's a lot more than just damage.
Yeah, but you know, scoreboard, my bar's tiny. That makes my dick feel tiny. You know.
Yeah. So I mean, it's Senna. You're doing what you're supposed to do. Like you don't need to be doing
Top of the damage track.
a million damage on Senna. Like if the game goes long enough, you will do the most damage. Like Senna just eventually will get to a point where she does the most damage because she's one-shotting
taking
somebody.
half the people's health from like double their auto attack range.
Yeah, it's disgusting. But at this point in the game, it's like I can do enough damage, but I also bring so much utility that it's like, yeah, I don't do as much damage as maybe a normal ADC would, but I do enough damage. Plus, I bring all this utility, so I'm doing way more in the fight than
you make your
any other
Maokai and
ADC.
your Swain even harder to kill.
Yeah,
like they're already insane healing, but then you just give them even more.
And that's how. I mean, this is again another one where the fight's like this is how they should go. Like Swain hits an E, pulls them in, R's, and then you just get to sit back here, shield everybody, and Q them when needs be and stuff like that. Like they can't do anything.
So much damage. Wow.
Like they have to choose between killing the front line or diving the back line, and they can do neither because you're protecting each other.
Yeah, and that's a good way to call it out too. Is like Swain and Maokai are protecting you from being dove as the Senna, and as Senna you're protecting them from getting too low because of your heals and your shields and things like and all of that. So it's like you both are helping each other rather than like a normal support who's just helping the ADC do as much damage as possible. It's more of a team like style. That's why I like Senna so much. She is by far my favorite ADC to draft for and play with.